Finally, another Canadian movie to talk about. What's going on, guys? I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Disappearance at Clifton Hill is no perfect movie. And it centers on a girl named Abby who believes that when she was 7, witnessed a kidnapping that may be tied to several big and powerful influences in Niagara Falls. Problem is, this is incredibly hard for her to prove to everybody because she has a reputation as a pathological liar. This is yet another movie on a list of stuff that I did not get to see at TIFF last year, and based on how many movies I didn't see at TIFF that ended up being great, I really should put more fucking effort into my festival choices, because while this isn't anything like groundbreaking or outstanding when it comes to Canadian cinema, this is a damn good mystery thriller that I would say is the Canadian equivalent to Chinatown. It has a very old-fashioned neo-noir aesthetic and story structure when it comes to the central mystery, as well as several different character archetypes. There's the hard-boiled detective who's incredibly cynical about the world. Because it's a female detective, there's no femme fatale. It is instead a male fatale, I guess. Kind of like Veronica Mars, just like that. There is a gentleman who is very contradictory when it comes to whether or not you believe him. There are several sources, like a mole. The mole, played by legendary Canadian director David Cronenberg. And that old-fashioned aesthetic really shines in the direction and the music, because there are a lot of wide shots that make our characters feel small and isolated compared to the rest of the world. Albert Shin is really good at framing actors in the foreground and information, or other actors in the background that are of equal importance, and having us look back and forth so that he doesn't have to rely on standard coverage all the time. The score provides a ton of the atmosphere when it comes to characters entering a situation that they don't know if they're going to walk out of or not. As some parts of the music proceed and change, there are notes and instruments that repeat over and over again, and it makes you feel uneasy because of how repetitive it is, and it correlates with the character's quest, because over and over again she's told by people, you're crazy, you're lying, you're making this up, all those things. And in a weird way, it makes you empathize with a pathological liar. Not just the music itself, not just the direction, but also Tuppence Middleton. I hope I said that right. She gave a really good performance that made us root for, at times, a really unlikable character. Because she is a pathological liar, and it's weird how she eavesdrops certain things from other people and uses it as herself for certain, even the most mundane conversations in life, and you kind of wonder why it is that she does that. Is it relating to this kidnapping memory? Has she always struggled with it? And why even lie about these things in the first place if it really doesn't even matter in the long run? Is it because no one gives you any attention? Is it because you believe that the people around you calling you a liar are right, so you just buy into what they're saying? The movie never flat out tells us the motivations for her or really any of the other characters, and that's one thing that I really appreciated that some audience members aren't going to. It is incredibly ambiguous in certain aspects, especially the ending, which was so good in the fact that it was a head scratcher and made you think about the consequences, not just of the people that she is trying to expose, but really for herself, because the ending, without giving anything away, makes her question whether or not she should have set out on this mystery in the first place. Especially because as the movie goes on, the mystery becomes more and more intense, and the villains become seemingly more invincible as time goes by, especially a really good restaurant confrontation where you feel as if you're going to guess the big twist that the detective's going to pull the rug under the villains, but then it's actually switched around in ways that I will not spoil, but it was one of those scenes where I just could not analyze the direction, the performances, anything. I just sat there, I watched what was going on screen, and my heart was racing the entire time, and I can't really say that about most movies in general. That being said, for everything that's ambiguous, there are certain themes that are kind of spelled out in a way that's not incredibly subtle, especially the villain's motivations. This is another anti-corruption detective movie that again, it's very reminiscent of Chinatown or more recently with Motherless Brooklyn. And it's not like there aren't any real life ties to it. In fact, Clifton Hill BIA is a business that tried so hard to make sure this movie didn't get made in Niagara Falls because they were convinced that it would portray the movie in a negative it would portray the city, I'm sorry. It would portray the city in a negative light, which, you know, God forbid a city would look like shit. As one of the producers of the movie even said, you think Toronto is 100% polished all the time? I don't. I've been there several times, and yeah, some things about it really suck. But the most spelled out things in regards to the themes of corruption come from David Cronenberg as kind of this whistleblower who does give a good but kind of dry performance, as that's kind of the idea. He's supposed to be this really cynical person who has like the tiniest glimmer of hope, but when he's trying to be cryptic, it doesn't always come off that way. The villains, as creepy as they are, because they have some legitimate moments, sometimes the corniness of the way they explain certain things about themselves does kind of take you out of the moment for a little bit, especially a performance, I'll just put it like that made me just sit there and go, okay, that's not how this would go. This is like 20 years too late. Come on. Not sure how much help this was in recommending the movie because it is pretty ambiguous in regards to certain things about mental health and about trust issues, not just with your loved ones, with your friends, but just with the world in general. And I feel like that's kind of the idea. And it's the reason I nevertheless had a really good time with Disappearance at Clifton Hill. It is a very suspenseful, old-fashioned, and well-acted murder mystery. And if you, by any chance, find it online or on TV, I highly recommend checking it out. And for that reason, I'm going to give Disappearance at Clifton Hill a 4 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. If and when you do see Clifton Hill, let me know down below in the comments what you thought of it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and be sure to stay calm, be as healthy as you possibly can, and if you do both those things, it'll all be over soon. Take care.